Criminal, Fatale, and The Fade Out. All of these books have one thing in common. The talent behind them is some of the best in the industry. So it should come as no surprise when I say that Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' Kill or Be Killed is another phenomenal title by two creators that are at the top of their game. Kill or Be Killed is what happens when you take Martin Scorsese's Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver and you throw in a demonic twist. However, how does it fare compared to Brubaker's other work? Ladies and gentlemen, and others, this is Comic Guide 101, and today we're talking all about Kill or Be Killed Volume 1. Let's do this. Kill or Be Killed centers around the character of Dylan. Dylan is a 28-year-old grad student who, by all accounts, is really one bad day away from snapping and destroying everyone around him. He's cynical at the world, and the woman that he loves, Kira, is sleeping with his roommate. However, when Dylan's roommate is away, he ends up sleeping with Kira. Bad idea. Eventually, Dylan overhears Kira and his roommate discussing how pathetic of a guy Dylan is. This leads to Dylan attempting suicide by jumping off a tall building. However, he survives. Upon waking up, Dylan is astounded to find that he is not injured in the slightest bit. Things, however, get weird for him when later that night he is visited by a demonic presence who says that Dylan must kill at least one person every month or he will die. At first, Dylan brushes this off, but he then starts to become sicker and sicker and sicker, and he starts realizing that the threat that the demon said was very real. Right off the bat, I love the premise of this series. Brubaker stated that he really wanted to examine what it would be like to be a vigilante. Brubaker sprinkling in the concept of what it would be like if you had to kill someone is an interesting take as well. How would you decide who lives, who dies, what is a bad person, and what is a good person? These are all the moral quandaries that Dylan must struggle with throughout the first volume of this book. Brubaker has said that recent news reports have made him feel that there is no justice in the world today, and that in a way, this book is his way of dealing with that, and boy, Brubaker really has a lot of demons he's sorting out here. At this point, you're probably wondering, how does this compare to his previous works? While I still think Brubaker's Criminal is his strongest book, this so far is tied for me for a close second with Fatale. The scripting here is sharp with very little fat, and it genuinely feels like Brubaker really has something to say. While his previous titles were certainly not lackluster, there's something about Kill or Be Killed that after having finished the first volume just resonated with me for a few days after. Like a bad itch, there's something about this book that I just could not shake. It just kept clawing at me, and I kept thinking about it days after I was done, and I kept thinking about the ramifications of all the actions that Dylan had committed in this volume alone and how they would play out in future chapters. Art duties in here are handled by the superb Sean Phillips, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, it should come as no surprise that Phillips absolutely crushes every single panel. Phillips is able to convey so much emotion in character faces, and he seems to really get to play here in terms of his panel layout. On one page, he will lay panels on top of a single page, and on the next page, it's a single page image, but the page is cut in half, with the text appearing in the blank space. It's little touches like this and the fact that Phillips, who has been doing this so long, is willing to experiment with his style that make this one of the best drawn comics available today. Kill or Be Killed is something special, and it really amazes me that after so many years and so many different projects, Ed Brubaker is able to pull out all the stops and deliver what is arguably one of the best comics that I've read in a while. I rate my books on a pass, borrow, buy perfect scale, and at $7, Kill or Be Killed is the easiest buy that I have ever given a book. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out this video, and if you want, you can find a link down below to Amazon where you can pick up your own volume of Kill or Be Killed. If you do that, I get a cut of it at no expense to you. Comes out of Amazon's pocket. And of course, there's always the Patreon and the Twitter and the Facebook. Check out those links. I love you guys. Have a great week. Bye.